Okay, assalamu alaikum. You're here with myself, Isa English or Dowie, and Abu Sadiq has just dropped in, mashallah. And we have another guest. We have a revert sister called Aisha, who's joining us for this show. This show, we're going to deal with marriage and reverts and the challenges. All marriages are challenging. You know, there's a lot to consider, finding the right husband or the right wife. You know, you're gonna maybe, inshallah, start a family, start a life together. So it's not a simple process for anyone. However, I find for reverts, it's going to be even more complicated and more challenging for reasons like we don't come from a particular community. Normally, we're not obviously Pakistani or Bangladeshi or Somali or Arab. Normally speaking like that. So we have some other challenges that we face. So we're going to try and unpack them a little bit today, inshallah. And at the end of the show, we've got some news about Reverts Corner we'll share with you at that point there. And we'll keep that for the end of the show, keep you on hooks. So without further ado, okay, I am going to hand over in the spirit of chivalry to Sister Aisha and ask her a question about the challenges and the pitfalls and the problems that she found while she was looking for a husband herself. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Aisha.
Wa alaikum salam. I think it's challenging because I found that there was no safe spaces really when you was seeking a husband. You don't really know who to talk to, where to go. You don't have like you say, you don't really have your family who would normally be looking for a husband for you, etc. So you're kind of isolated.
So was you looking online mostly?
Yes, and you have sort of like I wouldn't recommend sites to anybody. I don't know if anyone else has had a better experience, but I found them extremely unsafe. And I think if you're a vulnerable sister and you're new to the deen as well, it's like a minefield on them sites. So
you found there were some inappropriate conversations and comments.
It's just very, very challenging because obviously, for one, you don't really want to be taught as a practicing sister. You don't really want to be talking to so many brothers anyway. So that was a challenge in itself. And I found them.
I mean, because you don't have a Muslim family as such, like a father or brothers or uncles. So, Sadiq, you married your sweetheart, as it were, your pre-Islamic sweetheart. Is that true?
Yeah.
You're on So for you, it was a different journey.
Yeah, for me, it's a different journey.
But you must have had a lot of brothers that you know.
Loads.
And sisters maybe that you've known.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
I mean, mine is a little bit different to yours, but how was it rough for you? Because I know the sisters struggled.
I mean, for me, it weren't rough, but for the guys that I know from my background, Caribbean background, it's like our community is very small. So when it comes to, I mean, as Muslims, Muslim reverts, we're new kind of thing. So we become Muslim and then we kind of amalgamate into like Arab masjids and Pakistani masjids, Bangladeshi masjids. Do you get what I'm saying? And when we turn up there, it's brother this, brother that. But when it comes to marrying their daughters, it's something else. It's not brother this, brother that. It's something else.
I mean, so firstly, we should mention that if you want to text in, it's 0779481822. Or if you want to call in, even better, don't be shy. It's 01582481822. Reverts Corner, and we're talking about marriage. Why doesn't anyone want to marry reverts? Is that too much? Is that too strong?
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't say no one wants to marry reverts, but I've for example, you'll get situations where the brother is from a Caribbean background. He practices more than the father of the girl that he wants to marry, but because he's black, his skin is not Muslim enough for him to marry.
So you're alluding to there's a racial prejudice.
I believe so, but also, just to be fair, I have had, like, for example, friends from the Pakistani culture say to me that, it is like a preference in the sense that if you marry someone from the same culture as you and same background, it's more easier. The marriage is more palatable.
But there's something in that.
Yeah.
There's something in that.
Yeah.
Sister Aisha, you know, when did you find being a black sister yourself? If you don't mind me saying your color on, you know, you're not on camera, but did you find there was any racial prejudice towards you?
To be fair, no. To be fair, I think what I found most struggling is I just felt there was no safe spaces for sisters to go to.
Well, so explain that, because when you say no safe space, you feel threatened, or
no, not threatened, but it's like it's a minefield. Like, you really do need support in that, and if you haven't got, say, a Wali or a brother in your family that you're close to that can sort of help you navigate and almost interview these brothers, it can be quite dangerous.
That's crazy, because you have to expose yourself every time you speak to someone new. Not like expose it, but expose your personality, your character to so many different people.
Clarify that.
And that's the struggle. Because you don't want to.
You don't want to.
You know, you really don't.
As a private sister,
exactly.
Someone who covers up, it's a bit unsavory.
It's the opposite to what you think you should be doing. What you should be doing. It's the opposite, isn't it? Yeah. So okay, so we basically, as reverts, I mean, maybe my experience is a little bit different because I've got a bit of an online presence, and that's the only reason I get any type of attention or offers.
Come on, bro.
I know. I'm just being modest. Okay. No, but it is kind of different. But the sisters that I was in contact with, and I don't know, let's say over the years, I've probably met closer to 150 sisters, okay, in the space of time. And nearly all of them were reverts. I'd say 70 out of the 100. I don't know whether it was 100 but let's say 70% of them was reverts. Some of them then were Arab. Some of them were sort of like maybe Pakistani sisters, but they was divorced. So the second, third, maybe time round. So for me, I could see the struggle on the sisters' faces. Nearly all of them were decent sisters, you know, proper practicing sisters. Nearly all of them. I mean, I don't think I had many meetings with anyone that wasn't practicing, obviously. And you could see the sort of frustration. I could see the frustration. I can't marry everyone, so you could see the frustration on their faces. It was like, you know, this is another brother I have to meet. It's another brother I have to talk to. You know, and
can I run two quick stories to you, two examples to you in regards to marriage. So, for example, Jamaican brother, Somali sister. Right. The extended family would prevented them from getting married for years because he's not from their tribe. So as far as the dad's concerned, his lineage is cut if she marries him. And even though the brother went and got people from their own community to talk to the father, it was just a minefield to complete the marriage. But they completed it in the end. Another situation, a Bayesian brother, or Caribbean brother, and Pakistani sister. Okay, somebody else in the family was interested in that sister. The Caribbean brother married the sister, and then members of their family did magic on him. And I remember him sitting in my car, feeling the effects of sihr on his body, like his legs were just planted firmly in the car. He couldn't move, you know, and he was going through the whole motions. You know, the beautiful thing about this brother, he managed to find out where it was coming from and who was doing it, and he still tried to call that person back to Islam and say, listen, what you're doing will lead you in a place opposite from kufr. So he was still trying to advise them, and he took that route. You know, so many brothers that I know from the Caribbean back, because I'm Caribbean, I'm from St. Lucia. So many of the brothers that I know that are from the Caribbean, but the reason why they struggle is because of these reasons. Like, people, I don't know if they feel like threatened, or if they feel like, you know, like, I can't put my finger solely on what it actually is. Do you get what I'm saying?
Do you think they're more threatened by black revert to get married into their family than a white revert? So I kind of get the feeling that white reverts get a little bit leaner treatment.
Because I've seen, like, for example, white brothers marry into Somali families with, like, the way that water would just fall off a leaf.
I had a few Somali sisters. Not be funny, but I had a few Somali sisters offer to marry me.
You see. So, but when it comes to, because the thing is like, there's some Caribbean brothers, who are really like, they really strive to learn the Quran and learn the Sunnah, memorize, and they really strive in that direction. And the way that I've seen them being rejected in different, it just makes us think like, well, you know, are there any Caribbean sisters that we can marry?
So that's what I was going to say. Do reverts? Do you think reverts should marry reverts? It seems like the simplest option for us. The most obvious option for a revert would be to look for another revert.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to deal with the complications of family and tradition and culture. You can just go straight into a revert and sort of.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think revert should. I don't think we should close ourselves off like that. You know, I don't think it should be only reverts marry reverts. But I do think that there needs to be more support for the sisters. And it's not. You see, it's being a sister. Sometimes if we're a revert, we've come into it, and you know, you may be divorced, you maybe have children, you may be a more mature lady, so you've got all that to deal with as well, because you know, some of the brothers, they, you know, they're sort of, they don't want that kind of thing.
They don't want to marry someone that's had kids.
That's someone who's divorced.
It's been stigmatized.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it hasn't helped, does it, with the red pill movement infiltrating into some of the younger brothers?
No.
Hasn't helped.
No, it hasn't. And
I think people are forgetting the reward behind taking that on, and you know, looking after a sister and children she's had. Because the reality is that no matter what the sister's been doing, she's been doing it within the confines of marriage, within the confines of that which is halal. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think like with the red pill scene or whatever scene that's going on, we should always hang tight to the fact that it's rewarding for us to, you know.
But what if that sister or the brother, because you know, revert brothers come in and they have kids from before.
Yeah,
I personally did. I had one child from before, so maybe it's less of a hang up if the brother has a child, because normally the child lives with the mother and not the father.
Well, it's not supposed to be like that.
Islamically,
the children, when they reach a certain age, they should be with the father in order to allow the mother to be able to remarry and move on. But because we live in this country, it doesn't happen like that. The children stay with the woman, and then it makes it difficult for her to now move on and get married, because when another man comes, he's looking at, well, are you extra responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me. I mean, it's. I kind of get the feeling that there is possibly, and I don't want to tarnish the whole of the Muslim community with this, racial prejudice or some racial element to this sometimes. But also there could be. So let's try and balance things out a little bit. Would they look at it and say, well, this person's a revert, he become a Muslim. What happens if they get married to my son or get married to my daughter, start a family, and decide 3-4 years down the road, you know what, I can't do this Islamic thing anymore?
You can't say that, bro, because at the end of the day, when you look at it, you know what's happening? People are marrying their daughters to horrible men from their same culture, rather than taking on a revert who's studying Islam, who loves his deen, who's striving in his deen, just because he's not from the same culture. So I think what you've put forward is a fine line between the racial and just the cultural aspect of it, to make things easier. Like, you know, if you married a sister and she's from the same culture as you, she's gonna cook food that you're familiar with. Do you get what I'm saying? Or you talk the same language, or her seeing your parents is gonna be it's just gonna amalgamate now. Yeah, everything is kind of you know.
But do you not think there's something in that? I mean, do you not think there is an element of common sense in that a little bit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a fine line. It's a fine line. That's that. I think that's the balance in it between, like, you're black, so you're not coming in the family, or we prefer for our daughter to marry someone who's from the same culture. Yeah,
I use that as a sort of, well, that's just a preference.
Yeah,
you're a lovely brother, you're a lovely sister, you're not that lovely. They got to be able to speak our language and things like that. So
sorry, can I just pick up on the point that you made about sometimes it's because they marry a revert, and maybe that revert doesn't stay on deen, and kind of, I have seen examples of that.
Me too.
And it's awful for the women, you know, because they've had the children, they're with the brother who, you know.
Oh, you mean that the sister has married someone and he's fallen off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I have sadly got examples of that.
So give us, without using names, and so people might be recognized. I mean, what was the horror story? You know, how was it? How did it plan out?
So basically, you know, a sister marries a brother. She meets him, and he's Muslim. He's a Muslim revert. He's practicing.
Was she a revert?
No.
Okay, so she's born into a family, a Muslim family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Divorced lady.
Yeah.
Married again. You know, what she thought was, you know, a practicing brother, so on and so forth. Had a child, and then 7 years down the track, he decided that he doesn't want to be Muslim anymore. Yeah.
I'm sure it happens, doesn't it?
Well, you know, sadly, I think it happens more than we sort of get to know about, because I know a few. You know, and I think.
But what about the man who what about a man that marries in that same scenario, but he's born Muslim, but he just starts practicing.
Yeah.
He starts smoking cigarettes, and he starts, like, you know, his iman is just out of it.
It's pointless. He's like, he might as well not be a Muslim.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Isn't it the same?
It is the same. It is the same. But I was just picking up from what he said, that I have seen examples of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be genuine. It could be a genuine, legitimate reason for a family not to marry their son or daughter into that. It also could be an excuse.
Yeah.
You know, he said there's a fine line between the real, only Allah knows best what the reasons are and the intentions are of the family. However, I'm going to chuck another one on the table. Okay. Reverts tend to have luggage. Yeah. And on this, I don't mean kids. Okay. Because that's
like a jahiliya, like a
jahiliya. I don't use kids as luggage like some of these red pill guys do. Okay. Kids are a blessing, but I mean personality luggage.
Demons.
Yeah. I know that for myself, when things go a certain way, I go right back. Like it just pops out. And out he comes. You know. Unfortunately, and you know, obviously with age and with maturity, it's less and less. But and studying the deen. What if you're thinking to yourself as the father of the daughter, or possibly the son, well, I don't want those bad habits inflicted on my family, or my daughter, or my son, or my grandchildren, for example.
How would you know?
Well, you could say, well, you know, for example, we do a little bit of research on the brother, right? And you say, right, what's your time? What did you do? Don't go too much into your jahiliyyah, but tell me a little bit. All right, you've done a few things. Maybe you've been to prison or something like that. And you can say, well, you're a lovely guy, but I don't want that to be those characteristics to be in my family. I don't want my daughter to have to deal with you if you have those traits.
But the thing is, you can't really determine that, because the thing is like, you know guys that have had a crazy past, and that never really comes out, and you know guys that have that past and it comes out. How, as a father, would you be able to discern whether that would happen or not? You can't really. You wouldn't
know at that point. What I'm saying is, could it be a concern? Could it be something on their mind? I mean, you wouldn't know for sure because you don't know the future. But is it something?
Because you could have somebody that's from a home, and a good home and whatnot, and they get married, and they have psychological issues that pop out. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just something that I just feel is so. It's not tangible enough to be able to say, like, this might happen or this could happen. Do you get where I'm coming from?
You're speculating.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot of speculating going on.
Yeah, because the thing is, you might turn down a really nice guy who's been to jail. Some of the Anbiya was in jail, who's maybe committed a crime like murder. Do you get what I'm saying? Some of the Anbiya, one of them has had that situation, and they're really nice people, and they stay nice people.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're wondering why we're talking about these things, people, you're just joining in. This is Reverts Corner on Inspire FM 105.1. If you want to call us, 01582481822, text 0779481822. I remember that one day. Inshallah, this is what we're discussing today: reverts and marriage, and the challenges and the complications. And we're just chucking ideas around. I mean, I think it's harder for sisters. The two reverts, the male and the female. I think the females get it worse.
100%.
I mean, if they're asking me, they must be desperate.
100%. 100%. Do you know? Let me I'll put this out there, and you guys tell me what you think. Yeah. I think that there should be structured courses for potential people who are potentially want to get married, no matter what background you're from.
Go on. I'll unpack that a little bit. What do you mean by a structured?
I think that there should. Like? I think that there should be a course on. I think that we should have a course on just this the aspects of marriage that you will face. Do you get what I'm saying? And scenario based, just like the meat and potatoes of scenario based situations. Do you get what I'm saying? How to have emotional intelligence, what kind of patience is expected from you. You know what I mean? What, like, for example, I remember when I first got married and I had my first and my wife was pregnant with our first child. I wasn't aware of, like, for example, the hormonal aspects and the behavior aspects, to the point where I said to my wife, you know, I don't know who you are, but the lady who I married, you may need to go outside and get her,
bring her back.
Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because she was a totally different person, but I wasn't aware of that. And because I wasn't aware, I didn't prepare myself with the patience that I needed in order to be able to make it a smooth ride. Do you get what I'm saying?
So you think some sort of, what did you call it?
Like a course or something, like a course for the man, a course with the ideal Muslim in a marriage, and the ideal Muslim man in a marriage. I think there should be courses that are put together by adults, by us who have had like decades in marriage, and there should be like a whole and then and then the parents get to see the personality of the person, of both sides. They get to see, you know, they get to really see and engage with what's going on in order to make an informed decision whether it's the right thing to do.
Aisha, what do you think?
I think that's a really good idea, because it's also understanding the difference between men and women, because we are built so differently.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
Really interesting what you said about your wife when she was pregnant and you was unaware of sort of like the changes and the emotional stuff that we have. And I think men and women understanding each other's differences, I think that would be really beneficial as well.
So who's going to deliver this course?
I think that it should be delivered by those who are experienced, you know what I mean, in marriage. Like that could be any one of us that's done decades in marriage, because we've been through the ups and downs. We've been through when it's all good, we've been through when it's bad, we've been through.
So would you say that course is for everybody that's trying to get married, or
I think it's for everyone that gets married, because the thing is like, it's like you just get married and just expect to know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, for example, you take a sister from her home and put her in a flat, and you've married, and she's just supposed to know what to do. Do you get what I'm saying?
And the same time, we haven't had time to get to know them, like with a boyfriend girlfriend scenario.
No, that's out of it.
Yeah, so that's out of it. So what do we do now? We're just married to someone.
So it's not even love.
Yeah.
It's not even love.
No,
the love isn't even there yet.
Not yet. No.
Do you get what I'm saying? That's another thing that needs to be spoken about. Do you get what I'm saying? Because now they're gonna just take it in their own hands and just link each other, go cinema, go to restaurants and ice cream places to get to know each other. So it's up to us for us to create safe spaces. Do you know, there's like, for example, I'll give you like another example. Like, you know, sisters are marrying guys who ain't even coming with their certificates, their health certificates, to show the sister that, you know, he's been married with several different people and that he's clear. Do you get what I'm saying? From diseases, STDs. Like, that's another thing. Like, sisters, if you're listening, if you're marrying somebody, and brothers, if you're listening, you're marrying somebody, before you think, make sure they come with their certificates to say that they. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, but I never thought of it like that.
No.
You know what?
Serious.
None of the sisters that I met asked me for an STD certificate.
Right. Because no one's talking about it. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's not the sort of thing you bring up over a coffee.
It's not. But if you want to preserve your health, and you want the all clear, you need the all clear of things like that.
That's definitely something that I never thought about.
Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna take all of but I remember Abdul Hakim Quick was doing what you call it, like sisters meet brothers, brothers meet sisters, kind of like it was maintained in that, and that was one of the things that he mentioned. I was like, I didn't even think, and this was years ago.
I definitely didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. We've got 21 seconds to go. We're in a break now. So if you're listening to this, come back after the break, because we are discussing marriage, reverts. I know marriage is a minefield for everyone in any community, but I think reverts, we're uncovering some things now. The brothers just said something that I never even thought of. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. In Luton and its surrounding areas, it is now time for Salat al-Asr.
लुटन और इसके मज़ाफ़ात में नमाज असर का वक्त हुआ चाहता है।
This azan has been sponsored by Ideal Properties. Contact us on 01582 72 110 or log on to www.idealpropertiesltd.co.uk.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
Would you like to sponsor the azan? If so, give us a call on 01582 481810 or email us on info@inspirefm.org.
Safety around it. Because at the minute, there's no safeguards.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 6:30.
Yeah, there's no safeguards.
Yeah.
You know,
No, they should be. They should.
Yeah,
I
they
think
should
brothers have tried to.
Assalamu alaikum. We're back
Okay.
on air. Sorry, the conversation's still going on, guys. Where you guys, we're in the studio, we're still talking. We're not finished with this topic, alhamdulillah. If you want to get involved yourselves, it's 01582 481822 or texting 0779 481822. And we have a text message here from a sister. Well, it's quite a long text message, so I'm a terrible reader. Assalamu alaikum. I'm a revert 14 years ago, got married to my husband. His dad is from Kenya and his mum is a white British revert. We have had lots of struggles getting told by my husband's family, don't marry a revert. My mother is a Sikh, but I never practiced the faith. My son, who is 12, asked, can I marry whatever lady I like when I am older? And we tell him, look for good manners and deen in a spouse. Alhamdulillah, I'm still married, but I had so many struggles with my family and my husband had to adapt to me not having Muslim family, loving the podcast. Jazakallah khair. Okay, so there's another a situation of struggling and you know the two families conflicting. It sounds like in that situation there, the families was against it. Now, this is another actually can lead us on to something. When a revert marries into a Muslim family, let's say that does happen. Okay, inshallah, it has to happen. Do the family accept them? They've agreed to the marriage. The marriage has happened. Now, do you think that's the same? In my experience, it is. I mean, just personally talking. But you think the families are like, okay, I don't care if you're from the West Indies or I don't know, Denmark or wherever else, you're part of us now, and you get invited to all the same weddings. They treat you the same. I found they would treat you better, to be honest. I mean, it's a situation. Yeah, I mean,
I would say it's like any family. There's some and some. You know, so you'll probably have some members of the family that will welcome you wholeheartedly, and then you may have some that will not. And that's not just for Muslims. That's just families. I think that can happen.
Okay, so let me say this then. What about the reverts family accepting them? Because they're going to be non-Muslim for the most part.
You see,
did your sister? Sorry, Aisha. Did your family accept your husband?
100%.
All of them.
All of them.
Alhamdulillah. Your family? Oh, they already knew your.
Yeah, I mean, like I find that Caribbean parents, if they, well, you know, the family, like if you're Muslim, you marry and you're married. Is the fact that you're married is enough.
Yes.
You know what I mean,
happy about that.
Yeah, they're just happy like you're married, and you know what I mean.
So you find it quite welcoming with the revert family.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find it more welcoming than actually becoming a Muslim. Then you get the questions and yeah. But when you're married and that, there's no like, oh, look at your kid's hair and stuff like that. Whereas in other situations, like if a Caribbean man marries an Asian sister, sometimes when they have the kids and the kids go over to the sister's house where there's more Asian people, that kid sometimes faces like, look at your hair and your color and stuff like that.
Some sort of
yeah, some kind of thing.
Within white families,
white families too. So my thing is that if the family practice Islam properly, where Islam supersedes the culture, then it doesn't. Then you'll find they're the best.
This, I think, what you said there. But I think reverts adapt the culture of Islam. Whereas other families, be there from
I agree with you further.
So we're coming out from an Islamic culture now, which is Muslim culture. And if you're a Jamaican or you're English or wherever you are, the primary for us as reverts is Muslim. We're Islamic. But then you're married into maybe a Pakistani family or a Bangladeshi family, or you know, maybe Somali or something like this. And they have their culture and Islam. So you've got to kind of morph
and they've grown with that. That's how they've always been. That's how they are. So that's you can't really blame them to some extent, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it still boils down to your knowledge on the deen. Like when you come into, if like my daughter wanted to marry a brother and he's from an Asian background or Somali background, but they are practicing Islam. Do you get what I'm saying? And their Islam supersedes their culture, then this is the best, in my opinion. This is the best. But when it's the other way around, where the culture supersedes the deen, then this is I stay away, because I'm the type of person I would say to the parents of anybody who wants to marry any of my kids, I say, listen, if you're not happy, say it now. Don't let it happen and then you not be happy afterwards. Do you get what I'm saying? That this is a huge injustice. Do you get what I'm saying? That's the angle.
I mean, for me, I think the whole culture, I think there's good in culture, as long as the culture isn't anti or contradictory to the deen.
Exactly.
I like different cultures. If I have someone from a Jamaican background, I would like the fact that I would have their food. I'm kind of
and that's how we are as reverts. We say that anything from our culture that falls in line with the deen, we're good.
We'll take it.
But if it starts to supersede and be contrary,
take a priority over.
And take a priority, we're not involved. We're not involved.
But I think with a family that you get a lot of rebuttal, because these type of families are steeped in culture. And they're like, no, you can't touch culture. They can't. We've always done that.
Those are for reverts. Those are red flags.
They are. Those
are red flags, and you'll know from the wedding.
But where do reverts look? I mean, Sister Aisha, where did you look for a husband? Where was the primary place? Where did you go? Who did you ask? I mean,
I'll be honest. I didn't look for too long.
No,
because I just didn't like where you had to look.
So where was you looking?
Like,
I mean,
so you had like the Muslim
Muslim
dating,
match.
Muslim match and all
yeah,
that sort of
Muslim
thing.
match,
what's it called? Musmatch.
Yeah,
Muslim match, I
was
think
one
so,
of
yeah.
them. I can't remember the other one, but I think I maybe lasted 3 days because
I've heard so many horror stories
it's
about these acts.
horrific,
Yeah.
and I just didn't like how it was. But for me myself, with finding my husband, it's all down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, because I made many du'as, and I asked for a husband that will be good for my deen. And
you got one,
and I got that.
Alhamdulillah.
And I didn't have to look for it; it kind of found me. You get what I mean? So
your husband found you.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Your wife and you was already together, so you just become Muslim.
We became Muslim and got married.
And you got married, which is beautiful. But I think most reverts are forced online.
They are.
Forced to
but
go
that's
online.
the culture that we're in now.
Yes.
It's online. And the thing is
where
that
else do they go? I mean, where else do these
there's
go?
no way.
You don't even have to be revert. I mean, you can just be a Muslim brother or sister that can't get married, because some of them don't want to marry who their family tell them to marry. And then they're like, okay, well, you and then where are they going to go?
Have you seen when people get, sorry to cut you?
No, that's okay.
Have you seen how when a sister who's from those type of backgrounds get ostracized? For marrying someone outside of their culture, they get cut off from financial support, just basically the family network, and then they get ostracized. And then what happens is that leaves that sister so vulnerable that if the guy that she's married isn't on point and he decides to do a beeline, then she's left in a horrible situation. No family, no husband, exactly, bad reputation, and a couple of kids. You so. We told you this, we knew it was going to happen. You know what I mean? And a couple of kids. So it is. That's why this conversation that we're having, something should sprout from it, in a sense that platforms or courses or something should be made available.
I think the idea of a course is a good idea.
100%.
But you have to have someone of knowledge, because obviously
to chaperone the course.
Definitely that. Yeah, we have to have someone of knowledge in the deen that can guide, even set the course out. And then people to deliver the course, like sisters and brothers, who can actually have experience in what. I think this is that's the way that I'm looking at it. That doesn't have to be a revert thing. I think that's everyone's.
That's an everyone thing. That's an everyone thing. I think that you guys like having meetings and stuff is cool. But I think like if we want to have a greater perspective as to what we're getting into here, we should have a course that lays those kind of things out.
Let's be honest, most reverts have never been married. They've had girlfriends or boyfriends, but they've never been married. So they don't know the rules of marriage. They're not used to someone being there 7 days a week. And then for the men, it's like, well, you got to pay this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And a Muslim man has to be a man.
He has to have resources.
He has to have, and he has to have. He has to have the fortitude to be that leader.
100%. And then he's now gonna marry somebody who has been brought up in marriage, who has seen weddings all their life, and they've seen their aunties get married. And then this revert, he's probably seen, let's say for example, somebody who's seen more funerals than marriages and girlfriends and stuff like that. So he's got some adapting to do, and she's got some adapting to do. So that could all be laid out in a course setting. Do you get what I'm saying? A 12-week course or something more. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
It's easy to play the husband, like the sort of I'm the dominant, I'm the husband. I mean, it's my family, I'm in charge, but it's not easy. No. There's a lot of responsibility. No. And there's a lot of wisdom that you have to have in a marriage 100%. To make that marriage work. There's a lot of the time that if my wife says something, just let that one go. You know what I mean? Because obviously, you can't fight every battle. Sometimes you just can't.
But this has to be this like imparted onto someone who's new going to get married, because you don't know that when you're 20, you're going to get married to a sister. You don't know that sometimes you just, all right, cool, you just let that one slide, or you don't know that when you walk through your house, walk through the house like as if you're a blind man. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't have to, why is this, and criticizing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that can be unpacked that can help build what you need, the tools that you need to actually get involved in a marriage.
It's serious. I mean, and some brothers do use the deen to
box sisters in, to
hit them with, like you got to do this because of this, you got to do that because of this.
Box sisters in, and that's why I tell the sisters they have to learn their deen and learn fiqh, because the deen isn't just fixed and boxed in. So when I remember the times when I used to hear brothers used to box sisters in
Yeah.
with the deen.
Yeah.
But if you know your fiqh, do you get what I'm saying? You know what where you can navigate, because the deen's not supposed to be difficult.
Okay, I agree, 100%. Alhamdulillah. So now we all got kids here. Some growing.
Yeah.
Would you marry, Sister Aisha? Firstly, chivalry. Would you marry your children to a revert?
Yes.
You would.
I would, yeah, but obviously they have to meet a certain.
They have to take the
Would you
course.
do
Yeah.
the same?
They have to
Yeah,
take the course.
Yeah, we'll do it for them first.
Yeah.
Would you use more? I would personally use more due diligence on a revert than someone born into a Muslim family. Because I'm a revert, I know where the demons are. I know you, that look like you don't agree. Okay, and the reason I'm saying that is because of the luggage that reverts come with. I got my own luggage, so I know. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't marry my sons to revert sisters, but if that sister I know has been brought up in a home where she's Islam has been around her from day one, and she knows the rights of the father and the mother, and she's seen the marriage, she's more likely going to have those characteristics already there from them childhood.
But we're assuming that all Muslims that are brought up in Muslim homes
It's
are
all
brought
good.
up in that way,
This is
because
not-
there's a lot of
psychological
Muslims
issues.
that, there's a lot of trauma.
There's things
in-
going on.
in some-
Okay, let's go into.
And it might not be necessarily from the immediate family, so mum,
Yeah.
dad, children. It might be from behind the mum and dad, so other family members. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, give me an example. What's trauma?
I mean, like,
I'm going to ask both
like,
of you for the separate examples. Inshallah.
I mean, like, I can, like, for example, there might be issues of you know, touching kids and stuff like that. Do you get what
So
I'm
sexual
saying?
abuse.
Yeah, sexual
Okay.
abuse. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that could be in like a home where there is mum, dad, and
Dean
and everything, but the uncles come over and the
Right.
cousins come over and everyone sleeps over and all these kind of stuff, and you don't know what's going on. So although we know what to unpack if someone's coming from the streets or coming from that kind of background, when it comes from actual someone's home and stuff like that, do we know how to unpack that?
We could also have that from a non-Muslim family.
Both sides.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah, it's
that's
saying-
why when you said what you said immediately, I thought to myself,
Yeah.
well, what you would do for one, I would do for both of them.
Do for both. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
do both.
Sister Aisha, would you you said there's trauma. So brother, give me an example of trauma. So do you have a different one? Or?
I just think even when you're looking at Muslim families, people that are born into it, and everyone around them, there's still, you know, nothing's perfect. Do you get what I mean? So some families have got drug issues within them. Some of them have got alcohol issues. Some of them have got domestic violence that is, you know, in them. So I feel like for me, with my children, I'd be looking at the character of the person, the deen, their knowledge, and it would be more based on that for me rather than them being a revert or growing up within a Muslim family.
Okay, fair enough.
Personally.
So we have different types. I mean, I think all of those things could exist in a non-Muslim family, and obviously they do.
Of course.
I mean, for me, the only thing with my sons, if they married a revert, and I'm happy for them to marry anyone, to be, you know, as long as they're Muslim and a woman. Okay, so we've got to be a little bit. Okay. So is that I would just want to be involved, and I would be. If they was going to come from a Muslim family, that would be comforting in one way, but also if that family was really big. Now there's another problem, because you're married into that family, and that all of them people are all on your side when things are good. And when things are a little speed bump or something, then all of a sudden all them people, them aunties and cousins and uncles, now they're all against you. So, you know, there's sort of pros and cons in it.
I'll just be looking for how close that family is to the Quran and Sunnah.
That's what I would do. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I would spend time, like, I would spend time with the family.
Yeah.
You know, if any young man wanted to marry one of my daughters, he would spend time with me.
In the
Do you
gym.
get me? In the gym, he'll spend time with me outside. I'll be with him, he'll be with me, and I'll see when he gets angry. I'll see when he gets money.
So they're really gonna have to.
Yeah. They have to take the course.
Well, you're gonna do a course. So if you're still listening in and you're not confused, this is Reverts Corner. We're discussing marriage issues and challenges for reverts. Although marriage is a challenge for all communities, we're aware of that. But if you want to get involved, everyone's shy. Okay, so it's 01582481822 or text in 07779481822. Okay, so we're getting involved. We're covering a lot of ground here, and these topics are normally quite we have to come back and forwards there. We can't do them all in one show, inshallah. But I mean, I do honestly think that reverts. So like I said, in my experience, I've met, let's say, closer to 100 sisters over the time. That I can't remember the number, to be quite honest with you, but and almost all of them were reverts. I mean, like say 70% of them was going to be reverts, and the rest of them, and I could just see it in their eyes. I mean, it was it was sad a lot of the time, and they were good sisters. I mean, almost all of them were good sisters, and very, very worthy of the husband. Very worthy and very sort of practicing. Some have had niqabs, some of them fully hijabs, but some had both, niqabs and things like this. So and this online thing, because where else are they going to go if they're not online? They can't ask their dad to look for them, or their uncles or their brothers. The imams in masjids don't get involved. There's no courses or anywhere. Where do you go? Who are you going to? I mean,
people are just going to gravitate to apps and gravitate to.
And who are they on the app? They can present themselves as one person,
thing,
and then marry them and be a completely different.
I remember one time I used to say to sisters that I know and stuff like that, like, if you want to find a good husband, find a good Wali. Do you get what I'm saying? Find a good Wali, like, who, start there. Do you get what I'm saying? Because at least that person.
You're going to ask for a Wali. So you're a Wali of a sister right now. Who would you ask?
Who would I ask?
Yeah. Who would you go to first?
For her to get married? Yeah.
There's a sister now. She's 35 years old. She's got one kid, one divorce, revert, 7 or 8 years in the deen, something like that. She's come to you. Can you be my kid?
I have it. I got a sister right now. Asking me, like, do I know anybody? But the thing is that the way that I do it is that it's based on people that I know.
Yes.
So if I don't know nobody, I don't have nobody.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because I can't refer you to a young man and then you marry him and he beats you up. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't want to be responsible for that.
But it's a small pool of brothers that you know.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it. That's all you can do.
Who does she marry then? She has to go online.
She has to go online.
Yeah. And there lies the problem.
That's it. There lies the problem.
Yeah.
Because then you're available to predators. You're very available to. No one's vetted.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I've never been online looking for a wife. I never did that.
Yeah.
Although I've heard horror stories from multiple people about it online, and some of these conversations are more like, horror movies, pornographic movies than they are about deen.
Yeah, uncensored conversations.
Yeah, very uncensored and conversations and stuff like that. But what else? And I'm looking at and the sisters that contacted me because I was out on social media. That's the only reason. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't know who I was, and no one would contact me. But that's the only avenue they've got, is to see someone like me on social media and say, "Oh, well, I'll just text him and see if he's married."
Yeah, or the Wali wants to marry her.
The Wali.
Yeah.
Well, the Wali of the sister was married.
Yeah. The Wali of this. That's what happens. That's what happens sometimes, man. You know what I mean? You find that
sometimes sisters ask you to do that because they actually want to marry you.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. But that's one way, But if you ain't got a male figure in your corner who is good at doing that, then you're stuck. To be honest, it's not really, like I said. A sister just messaged me out of the blue, not out of the blue, but can you find somebody?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And
but you should probably message a few brothers that she trusted.
Yeah,
maybe.
But I don't know her.
Yeah.
So she just knows me from online, just on Facebook, posting on Facebook. Oh, this brother looks like sounds like he's religious, and
it could be an indirect of asking whether you want to marry her.
Oh no. I'll shut that down straight away. Yeah. I ain't got time for all that.
Situation. Did any men ever approach you online and make propositions to you, like a marriage proposition?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay. You have many, or how long did you look for? By the way, I mean, like from
online, not long.
Not long online.
Not long online. I wasn't willing to open myself up like that. So, and like I said, I'm not. I don't want to speak for any of the brothers that are on there, because I'm sure there's some good ones on there, but the ones that I come across, were a little bit unsavory, and it wasn't something that I wanted to engage with at all. I was very, very uncomfortable. I wasn't happy with conversating. I just wasn't comfortable. So it may be okay for some people, but sisters, if you're listening, I wouldn't advise it. But
so where do they go then? I mean, we're back to the same question.
This is
they have to have the imam. They have to have somebody on their side, where if they like somebody, they say, look, contact this.
And you brothers are on the inside. Us sisters, we're on the outside. We can't just go approaching brothers and just, you know, get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
that's
really,
crazy.
it has to. This support, it does have to come from you guys, because we can't do it. You're inside, if you get what I mean. I don't know how it can be done.
I don't overestimate the inside that we're in, because like the brother doesn't know many sisters, many brothers that are eligible to marry. I know quite a lot of brothers, but if you ask me, do I trust him to marry a woman? I'm like,
I say about 98% of the brothers that I know are married.
Yeah.
They're already married.
Yeah, exactly.
So the pool
polygyny now becomes into the conversation.
Yeah.
It has to. Because the sister can't be demanding a man hold to herself if there's not a very strong...
You don't want to open that can of worms too late in the show, bro.
It'll go, the screen will go crazy. But I mean, it is a case, if there's a limited amount of brothers out there and they're only ever marrying one sister, then polygyny has to, you know, is part of the deen. It has to be involved in a conversation. But sisters have to be a bit more open to it.
They need a different type of iman to be able to deal with polygyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is high level iman.
Yeah. A different type of iman.
Yeah, it's because most women are jealous. Obviously, it's normal. Even the Prophet's wives had a little bit, so it's a normal thing. But then again, look, it's a numbers game as well. If there's 10 men to every 20 sisters, then
what do you think, sister? Do you think that eventually, after time looking, I'm not saying you, just generally speaking, after time, a sister looking and, you know, time's pressing on, do you think that the sisters just say, all right, you know what, I don't mind being a co-wife?
I think it's a difficult one, because obviously, like you said, there's jealousy. I do think you have to, because even when I came into Islam, that was the one topic that I really struggled with. Not now, but that's because I've learned and I've evolved and I've grown and I'm mature and you know, I can see it in a different perspective.
But at the time,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I do think the sisters need to at least consider it.
Because my next question is that, if you don't mind, Issa, that where would the sister draw the line? Because if you're 25 and you're struggling at 25 to find someone to get married, and then you've hold yourself up and then hold yourself out, and now you're 32, do you get what I'm saying? And you're still struggling because you still feel this hope to just be somebody's wife without being there. Then where do you think a sister should draw the line to say, you know what, I'll accept being a co-wife?
It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. And I think it's going to just depend on the circumstance and the brother, because, you know, you may have a brother that can't even look after one wife, and he's not very good to the one wife. So why would you want to be the second one? You know,
it's a special type of brother that can handle that.
Of course it is, you know, and you'd have to look, it's so complicated and complex. I think it would depend on circumstance to circumstance. But what I would say, with my now mature head, is I don't think sisters should rule it out
completely.
Because there's a reason for it, you know, like with everything within Islam. I don't think they should rule it out, but it is a difficult one.
It is a difficult one, and I think the women have to have stronger iman than the men, maybe, because they're the ones that sharing. They're sharing the husband, so, you know, women, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them. But that being said, it is a numbers game.
The thing is that, as well as that, for a man that really takes polygyny serious, it's also for him, because if he's unjust, he will turn up on Yawm al-Qiyamah lopsided. Do you get what I'm saying? And he has to be able to manage that ecosystem between practicing polygyny.
So we've got 49 seconds now, people, inshallah. So it was on Reverts Corner. We were discussing marriages, the challenges of marriages. So we said that there will be an announcement about Reverts Corner before the end of the show. So I'll share it with you now. So this was the last Reverts Corner, what we are doing. So before you come down to the radio station demonstrating and frustration that we're not going to be here, inshallah, we will be back here next week with Speakers Corner, where we'll be opening up the topics to more for the whole public, for the whole community, even non-Muslims get involved, things that are happening in the news, trending in the moment, things that are affecting the whole Muslim community at large, and even Reverts topics as well, inshallah. So next week, we're going to open it right up for everyone. So we want more calls, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.